Governor of Wisconsin, a Republican, Scott Walker, who joins us live. Are you in Vegas?
I am. I'm at the Republican Governors Association, and it's pretty early in the morning for a Midwesterner.
No doubt. I thought you were out there betting on the Packers or something. Let's get to these jobless numbers.
That would be a safe bet, though, you know.
It would be, you know. Let's get to these jobless claim numbers. A lot of people are going to be raising some eyebrows pretty high today that after the election, we go up to this whopping number of 439,000. What do you make of it?
Well, real concerns about the numbers. Certainly some will question the timing, but the bigger concern I think a lot of us have, including a lot of the governors here, is what does it mean for the future? You know, you got all this talk in Washington about the fiscal cliff. That is a concern, but the bigger concern is how the politicians in our nation's capital are going to try and tackle that. And a lot of them are talking about a big tax increase. And when you see jobless numbers like this, when you see the economy not improving the way it has in the past coming out of a recession, we're very, very concerned that they're going to pile on even more trouble by adding a tax burden, not just on the wealthy, but on just about every American out there, which would be devastating to each of our states' economies and to the countries as a whole.
You made national headlines, of course, over the last few years because of what you did in Wisconsin with regard to collective bargaining. And now there's another lawsuit. Tell us about this lawsuit against the state.
Yeah, it's amazing. You keep having liberal group after liberal group deciding that even though we had one of the lengthiest debates in state's history in the legislature, signed the bill into law, the law was upheld in the court when it was challenged last year. We had one of the biggest elections in the country, a recall election, where we won by even more votes than we did 2 years ago. And just last week, in something that most people don't know across America, in our state, even though we didn't certainly like the federal election for the presidency, the reality is Wisconsin gained seats on the Republican side in the legislature, went to 60 seats in the Assembly, went up to 18 seats in the state Senate. Both have now solid majorities because people like our reforms. And yet, when liberals don't win, often they run to the courts to try and push things through their direction. In the end, this law will be upheld. It is constitutional. But more importantly, for our schools and our local governments, they're depending on it. And they saw big savings that they put into the classroom and into government services, and the taxpayers benefited. In fact, first time in 12 years, our property taxes went down. People in our state want these reforms to continue.
All right, that's good news. Let me ask you about the fact that there are now 30 Republican governors. You gained a seat in North Carolina. A lot of people were discussing after the election that maybe the GOP brand was suffering and had been hurt. Why is it that Republicans are elected governor, but Mitt Romney could not win the presidency?
Well, I think Mitt's a good and decent man, but we talked a lot about that here yesterday. I mean, 30 Republican governors, the most we've had in a dozen years. Most of them, or most of the battleground states, have Republican governors in them leading the way, turning things around, balancing budgets, doing it while lowering taxes, seeing our revenues go up by improving the economy in each of our states. I think the reason each of us won was because we laid out a clear path, a clear agenda, and people gravitated towards that. And unfortunately, Mitt Romney's campaign, in the end, was not able to overcome the early attacks from the Obama campaign, the Obama-Biden campaign back in June, and they suffered the inability to clearly lay that out. Republican governors, I think, as a contrast, have been able to offer a clear plan for each of our states. We're going to change America one state at a time, and we're optimistic about the future with that kind of leadership here.
All right, Governor Scott Walker, thanks for getting up extra bright and early out in Vegas. So we'll see you again soon.
Good to be with you.